Welcome to the Knit2gether Podcast. My name is Julie. I'm a knitter and I've been making YouTube videos and sharing them on the internet to document what I've been knitting and spinning and stuff like that. I feel like January really flew by. I can't believe it's halfway through February. It's been about 3 weeks since I last made a video. I normally make videos every 2 weeks. The last weekend I was away, so I didn't get to make a video. Last weekend I went skiing in Vermont, and so I have a project actually that is related to that I'll show. Alright, today I'm wearing my Felix pullover. This is a pattern by Christoffers. I knit my version in Lettlopi, an Icelandic yarn, in origin and in like the wool breed. It's an Icelandic Aran weight heavy worsted yarn. This sweater is in the rust colorway, which if you go on Ravelry, it is the same color that the sample is knit in. I just fell in love with the sample, and so I wanted to knit it in the same color and the same yarn. I previously worked with Lettlopi in the past, and so I knew I enjoyed it, so I bought like a whole 10 skeins worth. I actually have some Lettlopi later to share, so I can show you what that looks like. This sweater I knit about last May. I challenged myself to knit the whole sweater in a week, which was ambitious, but doable. I did it in I think 6.5 days. If I remember correctly, it takes about in my size, it was about 6 50-gram balls of Lettlopi. So I tried to knit 1 ball a day, and that worked out okay. Part of the reason why it was so fast to knit is because it's knit at a really loose gauge. So it's, I looked it up the other day, it's 14 stitches per 4 inches. Personally, for me, I think that's a little bit too loose for Lettlopi. I personally just think it's a little bit too loose. So I probably won't knit this sweater in this yarn again. If I did knit this sweater again, I would probably knit it in a worsted weight yarn held with a mohair or something like that, just to try to make it a little bit bulkier so that the gaps fill in a little bit better. A huge advantage with Lettlopi is that it's a worsted weight yarn, but it's woolen spun, so the fibers are not aligned, so it's not a very smooth yarn. It's a very airy yarn, so it is very light. So getting a whole sweater, it's a little bit longer than, it's longer than cropped, but it's not quite hip length, full length. In just 250 or 300 grams is pretty impressive. The neat thing about the Felix pullover, you can sort of see I'm wearing a blue t-shirt underneath, but it's got these eyelet raglan increases, which are really unique, I think. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed making this pattern. I'm glad that I have my own, but I would probably knit it in something else. All right, I think I'll move into some of my finished objects. I'll go through one very quickly. This first one is the Musselburgh hat, which is designed by Ysolda Teague. I knit mine in, try to be a little more organized, I knit mine in this yarn right here, which is it's the Concept by Katia cotton merino yarn. Looks like that. It's the color 106, which apparently is called Moon. This is a 70% cotton, 30% virgin wool blend, or constructed yarn, I guess. It's a blown construction yarn, so there's a cotton core, and then the wool is blown through the core of the yarn, which I think makes it lighter, and it's also very soft and fluffy. So comparing the Lettlopi against this, it's night and day. The Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague is a double thick hat, which she writes that you write it from end to end. I made a modification because I don't really like casting on a tiny amount of stitches, so I started trying to figure out which side it is. you can normally feel a crease. Oh yeah, I definitely started here. I cast on like the full amount of stitches, knit all the way down, decreased per the pattern, and then came back, picked up those stitches, and then decreased at the first end. It's a double thick hat. I've definitely talked about this before, which is why I'm sort of racing through it, that you can fold over, the fold over brim. This is the second that I've made. Well, I made one that I stopped making. It's actually probably on the floor near me in a basket. This is the second one that I finished. I purchased the yarn when I was on vacation over the Christmas holidays in Potsdam, near Berlin in Germany, and I'm really happy with the result. I don't know if I'm going to keep it for myself. I'm not much of a hat person, which I've talked about in a different episode, but I think it's really cute. It is like, I did knit it for like my size and mine, but if someone has a smaller head, they can probably roll up the brim a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter, so it can be like pretty slouchy if you roll the brim down, or more snug against the head if you roll the brim up. So this is something that I had finished prior to the last episode, but I completely forgot about it. So just a quick update, it is done. I purchased 3 50-gram balls, donuts of this yarn, and used 100 grams plus a little bit more. So I have some of this type of yarn in my stash. I think my plan is to just like save a bunch of it up and then figure out what I can do with all the scraps. Because I don't think I want to like combine this with like applied yarn, just because the construction and the textures are so different. Eventually, I'll just squirrel it away, and eventually I'll have enough to put together. Sort of on a tangent, I've seen similar type of blown yarns at like big box stores in the past in the US before. I have some that's like the same like white core and like pink blown. I think it's acrylic that's blown through it though. And then yesterday I was at Michael's, which is like a big box retailer, and I wasn't there for yarn, but I always just like take a little peek through the yarn. And they have these big like gradient cakes that are just this blown yarn. So the cake moves through different colors, and it seems really cool. On a similar note, when I ever go to Michael's, I always check to find like this worsted 100% wool yarn that I always buy. I just buy it there if there's like a sale, or if I have like a coupon or something like that. Michael's always has coupons, so I had to have something a little bit better than a normal coupon. But I noticed that they didn't have my normal workhorse in stock. I don't know if it was my specific store or what, but if it's out of stock permanently, I'll be pretty sad. The other thing that I walked over to the yarn section to take a look at is I wanted to see if they have any Patents Croy sock yarn. I think it's probably like a 75% wool, 25% nylon, or 80%, 20% blend. I think it's a little bit heavier than a typical fingering weight, but I know a lot of people use that to make socks. So, and I know they have interesting colorways, maybe like self-striping, or they have just like interesting variegated colorways. I didn't see that either. So I go into Michael's probably like a couple times a year, so next time I go in, I'll take a look. But that brings me to my next finished object, which you haven't seen before, so I'll spend a little bit more time talking about that. This is the Easy Peasy Cowl. Easy Peasy Cowl. This cowl is designed by Karolina Adamczyk on Ravelry. It's a free pattern, and it is as you can see, it's a stranded colorwork cowl. As the name suggests, easy peasy. It's pretty simple, so she actually strategically guides you through like stranded colorwork techniques. So you start at this bottom end and work your way up. It starts with just like 1x1 color work, sort of helping you get in the rhythm of holding your yarns, and then gradually it goes into more complicated. None of the motifs are like very complicated, and they're all like symmetrical, so In my mind, I just memorize like what the number of stitches in each color at the knit are. So I'll go like 2 3 2 1 3 1 2 3 2 1 3 1, and I just like constantly like say it out loud or say it in my head if I'm bothering people. But it goes from like very simple 1 by 1 into slightly more complicated stitch patterns. I love the Nordic Star. I love Nordic Stars in general. And yeah, I knit this using the patterns wool worsted, which I just talked about. These come in 100-gram balls. You can buy them at big box stores. I think you can buy it on Amazon. It's about, at Michael's, it's normally about $7 for 100 grams. I weighed these, so I used about 70 grams of this. And then the purple color is this really, really beautiful, like heathered color. Hopefully you can see it all right. This is Harrisville Designs Highland. So if you purchase this yarn, I thought it was really funny and interesting, but they really tell you a lot of information about this yarn. They really use this label. Essentially, it's a yarn that I think is, actually, I don't know where the wool is from, but it's spun in New Hampshire in the United States, in the Northeast New England region of the United States, which is where I'm from originally. So that's really, really neat. I would love to go to the mill sometime to go visit. These are both, these are both worsted weight yarns. So they both have about 200 yards per 100 grams. So I use 70 grams of the white and about 30 grams of the purple. So I could hypothetically make another one and just like reverse the colors. I probably won't, just because I'm a little bit scared of running out of yarn, because that's very, very close. There is a coordinating hat in this set called the Easy Peasy hat, which is also stranded color work. So I could do that. I could make a color coordinating hat. I have tons of these of the white, so I'm not super worried about running out of this. I'll just pull another ball from my stash. But it's this that I'm worried about running out of. It is so pretty. Hopefully you can see it. I'm sitting next to a window for some natural light. Hope you can see like how pretty it is. So yeah, I knit this because the backstory. I knit this because I was going skiing. At least the east coast of the US. I think a lot of the US had like pretty extreme weather. But it was -20 degrees in Vermont with like really, really high winds along with that. So the wind chill, like the feels like temperature was -40 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm not a huge avid skier, so I have like the basics of things. Like I have like a basic neck gaiter, but I was like, that is not going to be enough. So I decided to knit this as like an inner layer to go inside my neck gaiter, and it worked really well because of the stranded color work. I'll also show you my floats because I'm really proud of them. The Easy Peasy cowl is definitely not like the most complicated color work I've done. So, and I've knit this before as well. I've knit the cowl and the hat before. So I'm quite proud of my floats. I think they look pretty good, but because of the stranded color work and these floats in the back, it's double thick for most of it. Oh, one last thing, this cowl comes in 2 sizes, a small and a medium, or small and large. I knit the small because I wanted to be closer fitting to my neck. So yeah, I think it's super pretty. I washed it. I didn't wash and block it before I wore it to go skiing because I finished it literally like 12 hours before we hit the slopes. But I washed it when I came home, and so now I think like the color work is more even. I'm really excited to have this. I think it's wonderful. So yeah, so that is the Easy Peasy cowl. I think it's a great like beginner color work project. It's pretty bite-sized. Like I mentioned, I only use 100 grams of yarn total. So you don't need to invest in the effort, time, or resources to make like a sweater or something like that. Make a cowl or a hat. So those are my finished objects. One that was already done, one that I sort of tried to breeze through as fast as I could. I will talk about some of my works in progress. This is the Ripple Bralette. It's very tiny looking. This is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Maed Designs. I think I showed this on my last episode. It was probably like in the bottom hemband. It's an all over rib bralette. I am knitting this in Knit Picks gloss fingering. It's leftover yarn that I had after I finished my Verses Unite. So this purple color here is Plume, Plume, sort of like plum, but plume. I guess it's like plumes, like plume feathers, like the feathers of a bird or something like that. And the white is the bear colorway. I am striping this bralette because I didn't have enough of any individual color to knit the whole thing with, but I had plenty of these two colors to stripe. I am doing like 6 row stripes for in the main body, and then in the like bottom hem it was like 7 rows each. So yeah, I've never really knit one of these before, so I'm just, letting the pattern guide me. For the stripes, I think I mentioned this on my last episode, but a tip I learned for making really nice stripes like this is to knit when you change colors. When you're knitting the first row in the new color, knit all the way around. Like, don't do the knit purl repeat, just knit all the way around, and that forces the purl bumps. Forces purl bumps backwards, so you don't get like these bumps on the right side of your fabric. If you did the knit purl repeat, you would get like little bumps in each of the purl columns of the rib. So I've been doing that. That's working out pretty well. I think last episode I mentioned that I was planning to or contemplating like carrying the yarn up along the side. It turned out to be a little bit too much carrying, so I'm just cutting. So I've got these little ends here. I am doing some like weaving in as I go. The weaving in as I go method, or I don't think I learned it anywhere, it's just like what I've been doing is what I do is I like catch the other color, like I was like as if I was doing straight color work. That works for me, and I leave a little bit of a tail. This is a very short tail, but ideally a little bit longer. I might do a little bit more weaving in. I don't think any of these tails are gonna come loose though, so I should probably weave them in a little bit before I cut them really close. So yeah, so this is a Ripple Bralette. My second of 2 whips is something that I actually talked about planning a while back, and it is some joggers. So I think I probably told the story in a previous episode, but basically I really want wool joggers, like wool, not quite leggings, but something I can wear over leggings maybe. I went camping in the fall and it was freezing, and my Lettlopi sweater kept me really warm, so I wanted Lettlopi pants. This is all I have so far. It's a button band. This is the cable cross, what's it called? I think it's called the cable cross joggers, or cable crush. Maybe I think of Candy Crush. I'll put the name in the thing on the screen and in the description box, but it's by a designer called Knitatude. I think it was originally designed for Lion Brand woolies, which is like a wool acrylic blend that you can get at a lot of box stores in the US. I love Lettlopi, so I'm making mine out of Lettlopi. There was also a person on Ravelry who made these out of Pullover, which is similar to Lettlopi. It's from the same manufacturer, but it's like unspun. So Lettlopi itself is like pretty loosely spun. It almost looks like a single. It is 2 plies though. I've heard rumors that Pullover is just Lettlopi with the plies separated. Sort of like I just separated the plies on that. I've heard that Pullover is just one of these and with like less twist. I've never used Pullover before. I really want to. I just, for now, I'm satisfied. I'm satiated with just Lettlopi. But this is what the ball band looks like. What the ball looks like. This is color 1407. See that way, 1407. It is also like a really fun heathered color. So that's really cool. It's Icelandic, like I mentioned. I love Lettlopi. I mentioned how the sweater I'm wearing is also made out of Lettlopi, but it's knit in a really loose gauge, like 14 stitches per inch. I think these and my reindeer sweater, which I wore a couple episodes ago, which was also made out of Lettlopi, this and that sweater are both knit at like 18 stitches per inch. I love the fabric of my reindeer sweater. I don't know if I think it's the slightly more denseness of the gauge. It's not like dense. 18 stitches per inch is not what I would consider dense, but it's definitely more dense than this. I don't know if I like the fabric because of the slightly more denseness, or maybe it's because it's that the fiber is not dyed, because I know that sometimes the dyeing or the bleaching and dyeing process makes a difference in like the texture. I don't know. I guess we'll see when I finish these. But yeah, I'm super excited about these. I'm not like super rushed to finish them. So far I cast on like Monday or Tuesday. It's Sunday now. I finished the button band, or not the button band, the waistband. So yeah, I think there's like an I-cord drawstring. I already made, like, in the pattern, she teaches you how to make the, I don't know if you can see, the like drawstring holes. So I'm super stoked. I think it's gonna be super fun. I've also I don't think I've made like a folded brim or a folded thing like this, so that was interesting to learn. It's sort of like three needle bind off, which I've also like only done once. It's pretty intuitive. I wanted to do, so the pattern has you just like cast on normally, and then knit, and then fold over, and then knit the live stitches with the cast on edge. I tried to do a provisional cast on without a tutorial, and it didn't work. I tried to do a provisional cast on with a needle cord as the waist yarn, which I've done before with a tutorial, but this time I winged it and it didn't work. I didn't end up with any stitches on a waist yarn cord, so that didn't work. The benefit of using like a second cord as the waist yarn is that if you're using interchangeable needles, if it's just like loose and on your project, you can put like stoppers on the cord, and then when you need to come back to it, you can just screw on your needles, and you don't have to like transfer provisional cast on stitches from the waist yarn to like a cord, because you're gonna have to get them onto a cord anyway. So that didn't work, but I'm not too bummed about it. It's okay. You live and you learn. Next time I might pull a tutorial instead of being overconfident. I will talk about it later, but I made some acquisitions, so this is part of it. So yeah, so these are the Cable Crush joggers, I think. I also don't know why they're called Cable Crush yet. I've looked at the pictures and I haven't really read through the entire pattern. I should do that. I don't see a cable, so, oh, maybe the cable's the drawstring. I don't know. The word cable, I'm not super confident that the word crush is in there, but the word cable is definitely in the name, and I never figured out why it was called that. There's no like cables running down like the side or anything like that. Maybe it's his drawstring. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out later. If I figure it out, I'll report back. So yeah, super stoked about these. I think I'm starting the short row shaping for the butt. So yeah, it'll be fun. Okay. We are almost through. We're through all the knitting, I think. If there's something I missed, I guess I'll bring it next week or in 2 weeks from now. The next thing I had to talk about is some spinning. I need to find like a good balance between spinning and knitting. There's some people that I follow who just like spin and knit so much, and I'm like, wow, how can you do that? But you know, we all work at our own pace. You know, we all have different priorities or obligations outside of, you know, work and our hobby. So we all work at our own pace. Anyway, but it inspires me. Their like productivity like inspires me. I think I've talked about this previously. This is a singles that I spun. It is from Bartlett Yarns Wool Roving in the Bluebell colorway. I purchased this at the Fiber Festival of New England, I think is what it's called. They had like a sale going on where they were selling these half-pound bags of roving, empty bag, and it was like a good deal, so I was like, I'll buy some. This is, so one bag had 8 ounces of fiber in it, so I split it into 2 balls, or into 2 bumps, and this is 4 ounces. And then this is my second bobbin of singles. This is like what I've been spinning on since like Thursday night or something like that. I'm really trying to get through this. I still have this much to go, not a lot. So hopefully today's Super Bowl Sunday, maybe I'll get through some of this or something like that. This Bluebell color, I guess I didn't really show you. It's this really cool, like, these like blues and pinks and purples, like neps all in it. There is some vegetable matter in here, some like, there's a piece, like some straw, mostly. So yeah, it's definitely not, like, it doesn't seem like it's carded, if I'm thinking correctly. It's the fibers are not aligned. It's just like a big old cloud. So typically I'll pull a couple inches, separate it out, look for pieces of straw. And then like lay them next to me by my electric wheel, and sort of go through them. I've been spinning them mostly for short forward draw, trying to practice getting some good singles. So hopefully I will be through with the other 4 ounces very soon, and then like really distracted now. And then I'll let the rest for a couple days and then apply them. So yeah, I mentioned a little bit ago that my electric wheel was having motor problems where the speed was really variable. I ordered a new motor, I replaced it, and it spins like a dream now. So I'm excited to use a new motor. I have an engineering degree, so really using that engineering degree. I have a couple of acquisitions. So I mentioned that Lettlopi was new. My preferred way of buying Lettlopi, if I know it's like a sweater quantity, or in this case a pant quantity, is to just buy 10 balls all at once. They come like in a sealed bag from the manufacturer, from Istex. And that way I know that they save dye a lot, which is nice. So after looking at the pattern, I think I actually might use basically all of it, so I won't have that much left over. So in this case, I really did need to buy probably 10 balls of yarn. But Lettlopi's like pretty inexpensive. US prices are about $6 or $7 a ball. If you buy it straight from Istex, which I looked at like the other day because I love this yarn and always want to buy more, it's like €250 or something like that per ball. Everything I bought from Webs, which is a yarn, I think store is probably a huge understatement. It's a yarn retailer. I think they're based in Massachusetts, in the Northeast New England part of the United States. They have the internet domain yarn.com, if that tells you anything about like their breadth. But yeah, they have a good collection of like lots of different types of yarns. They also have their in-house brand, which I'll show you later. And if you buy like $125, they give you like 20% off or something like that. I'm just gonna dump everything out onto my lap. Oh, I have the names of the colors too, or the packing list, so I'll just read off of that. The green was called Pine Green, which I think is very appropriate. I also bought some other random balls of Lettlopi. So I bought one each of these colors. This color is 0053, which is called Acorn, very fun. 1419 is called Barley. 1418 is called Straw. And 1703 is called Mimosa. I love that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with these yet. I would love to knit something like the Radari sweater, which is a sweater. It's a Lopa Pesa, so it's like a Lopi style Icelandic style sweater, designed by Vedis Jan's daughter, I think is her name. She is a designer, an Icelandic designer, that works for or frequently collaborates with Istex. So a lot of the like, her name is credited with a lot of really cool Lettlopi sweaters on Ravelry. So hopefully I will, I need to look at my stash and figure out what goes well. I also need to just get better at working with colors, but maybe I just need to take the leap. But I got like 3 neutrals and a bright color. If they just sit in my stash for a little bit, I'm not gonna be super upset. Hopefully they'll inspire me to make something new. Yeah, just single stains, just hanging out. The other like woolly wool that I bought is this little tiny cone of Harrisville Designs Shetland. So I showed you this earlier when I showed you the cowl. My understanding is that these are the same yarns, but but Highland is the worsted weight and Shetland is the fingering weight. I think I bought this before I actually even used the Highland, but I'm happy I bought it. This is I think it's a half-pound cone, so it's 8 ounces, 228 grams, 900 yards. This is number 40. Topaz is the color name. It's fun and fiery. I think it's got 900 yards, so I looked it up. It's probably not enough to make a whole sweater out of. Yeah, 200 228 grams is probably not enough to make a sweater my size. But I just pulled a different cone that I have, this white, which is Jameson and Smith jumper, 2x jumper weight, which is like a similar weight of yarn. So I could probably make like a color work all over sweater with these two, which I think would be fun and cool looking. So yeah, I don't have plans for this either, but yeah, this is yeah, so it says spun in the USA. It doesn't say that the yarn is from the US, the fibers from the USA. But that's really cool. I think it's really neat to have these industries like stay in the US so that we have like locally milled yarn. There are a lot of, from like what I've learned recently, there are a lot of sheep farms that either raise the sheep for meat or just like backyard farms that they need to share the sheep, but they can't find someone to mill the yarn, so they just throw the fleeces away, which is really sad because there is a perfectly good commodity that those farmers can receive compensation for. So having mills available in the US hopefully can provide more opportunities for those farmers to turn their fleeces into yarn, whether it's soft yarn or rustic yarn. I think it's important to be able to have those places to do that conversion into, you know, into a product that people can use. So this is what I bought recently. Maybe I can pair it with this, make a cool sweater. The last thing that I bought is from Webb's own in-house brand. Their in-house brand is called Valley Yarns. This is the Haydenville DK line. These are 50-gram balls, 136 yards. It's like a DK weight. It is machine washable. It's 60% superwash merino, 40% acrylic. I've never used this yarn before, but it seemed the machine washability was a bonus because I will make this into a gift knit. There are two people that I have loosely promised a knit hat or cowl for, and honestly I don't really trust them to be able to hand wash. I just know them, so I think this will be nice, and it's very soft. It's 60% superwash merino and 40% acrylic microfiber, so it's very soft, very nice in the navy color. These two people both love navy, so we'll have to decide for which person I will knit the thing for, and if it goes well, I'll probably buy more. This seems like a good candidate for like gift knit, low, easy care gift knit kind of knit. So we'll see. I'm really excited. I should probably start on the gift knit. Those are my acquisitions. I'm not supposed to buy yarn, but I did need like trying to justify this in front of the camera. I'm not really supposed to buy yarn, but while I have broken my rule for not buying yarn, I had a clear intention for the Lettlopi. This is for a gift, and then my 3 random skeins I do believe will bring me joy and some inspiration for the future. I forgive myself. I have a quick tip about interchangeable needles. A lot of times